Tell me a little bit about how you came to Fasterhouse and how you came to know Jeremy. What brought you there in the first place?
Well, we had gone to a estate sale that Curtis was having for his aunt's house.
The realtor.
Yeah, he's a realtor, and he was handling his aunt's, selling his aunt's house. And I had talked to him about, starting to look for a villa for ourselves and that. A couple of days or a couple of weeks later, we ended up meeting with Curtis and Chris, their realtors that we've been working with, and told them what we were wanting to do as far as not to have to put any money into our house, maybe just trying to see what we could do as far as just selling it as is, and, so we can move forward with this, with the next purchase.
My position was that house emotionally was finished. We'd reared our kids there. We no longer had any interest in the neighborhood or any investment in the neighborhood. And instead of starting to try to fix the house up, which we could have, we just set that money aside. And it was just miraculously, here came this guy named Jeremy, so I'll take that property and use it in my business and do something with it and give you a reasonable price. And our price was not, boy, we're going to have to really, there was no negotiation. This man came in, he sat down, he handwritten a contract contingent upon what we had to do. And that just does not happen, at least in the circles we travel in, we hadn't heard that. So the house itself, and it wasn't that we didn't have the money to invest in another home, it's just this home now has served its purpose, but I don't want to do all the things that a professional company can do very quickly and then make that house available. And we knew in the neighborhood it was probably a good investment for him, because you can walk from the backyard of that over to the daycare, which we did when our kids were little, and the access out on Mid-Rivers is kind of light. So I knew the property had value for him in terms of turning it and selling it, and I felt good about that. It wasn't as if we're going to take the money and run. But just the process of calling him, he always called back. He called if he had something he needed to talk about. It was easy. It was just very easy, and easy in the sense of productive. There was no haggle. There was no negotiation. There wasn't, well, gee, you told me this and I told you that. Verbally, we kind of agreed on the parameters of what we were going to do. And it's been exactly like that. Smooth and easy.
Fantastic. And you are moving to a villa now, is that right? Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, again, we, with Chris and Curtis, we're able to locate a villa that's right in the area that we were wanting, with the amount of storage and, bedrooms and all of that we were needing. Kind of like our dream house, and with their help and with Jeremy's help, we were able to close today. Not only on our house, but
for a little
on
while we
our
owned
new
two
house.
houses, by the way.
And it's just, everything has gone so smoothly. It's just been so unreal. We knew that we had to sell our house in order for us to be able to close on the villa. And of course, with Jeremy's help, we were able to do that. And so here it is, and it seems like it's been, less than 6 weeks, and everything's moving right along. And
Our realtor today mentioned, you're now in a $250,000 house. We hadn't looked at it like that. And the point I'm making is that we were not indigent. We were not living on the margins. We had set aside an adequate amount of money to put down 20%. So there was no haggle with Jeremy. It's like, well, boy, we got to kick this up and up. It was a reasonable offer.
right.
And that's the whole thing, that we could have handled it another way. We could have fixed it up and sold it. But there comes a point in life where we were ready to move on. And had the money to move on, and Jeremy, if this is of value to you, and I think it will be, then that's the merging of his interest and our interest. But how fast to handle it, it was just smoothness. It was just smooth and seamless.
Yes.
We weren't expecting that. Well, we have to
No.
do this. There'll be a roadblock there. Well, that's not the way. It did not operate. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and such a quick, a matter of weeks. And we have moved from where we were to where we wanted to be. And of course, we had the finances to do that. But, to move an older house or move a house that needs, some updating and all that, you never know how that's going to turn out. And is the person you're dealing with credible? does anybody know him, and does he have any references? And the references came to the Realtor, and he was as advertised, and that's why we can give this, testimony.
Okay, I'm sorry, are you Cossey?
Yes,
I should check.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
So it's just been pleasant. And if things can be pleasant, this is pleasant.
Yes.
Fantastic. And you're leaving with a check in hand, obviously.
Well,
I
yeah,
have a check in
yeah.
hand, and bought new property, new furniture, so now we can pay for the new furniture.
And one more point I want to make is that 32 years of stuff is surprisingly more difficult to get out and in the new place and to purge what you're going to purge. And it happened so quickly. We didn't have 6 months. So let's start getting this stuff in storage. We had 2 storage rooms and units, and we're still filling up a second. But he gave us a few days of leeway to move it out. And he said something that surprised me. You've got a lot of stuff that will not fit in your trash container. It would take more than just a couple of weeks to do that. And he said, leave what you don't want here. And I'm assuming there'll be a dumpster or something. And in turn, we left some stones for stonework. We left some cedar boards to if they want to do anything with them, and some other things we had bought, like for the shower and installation. That if they can use that, they will. If not, then it's no loss to us. But to have that window of time and agreed on, and to say, you don't have to haul this someplace and pay for getting rid of that. That's extremely important when you're in a hurry, and we're in a hurry.
Well, yeah.
Just leave it, and then they'll dispose of it like they would if they're tearing off the roof. They'll take care of it. That just surprised me, because it's a little worry I had. Well, how am I going to get all this over there in there? Not a trash can at a time. We're talking about just tools and things I no longer use, and or things that whatever. But that just made it easier than I ever thought it could be. So yeah, I can highly recommend Jeremy and his company too, and his ability to work with somebody else. It was not a bunch of entities, on the phone, what they say. It was seamless, and that's why I can recommend it.